Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Nigel here, Nigel's Modelling Bench. This is a review of a new kit I've bought, but I wanted to start off by just having a quick chat first about a couple of things that have been going on and a couple of comments that I've had. The C141, I filmed half of part 11, and here it is here, okay, and I've hit a snag. I'm not going to tell you what the snag is, you'll see that when you get to part 11, but let's just say I've had to spend some more money and get into the aftermarket on it, which I didn't want to do, and basically I am now waiting for that to come before I can get on and finish part 11. Watch part 11, you'll see exactly what's going on. I've also had some questions that people would like to see Jess. So Jess, come here. And so, here's Jess. Here she is. She obviously doesn't want to be here, she doesn't want to look at the camera. There you go. She's having a good look around, she's probably going to lick my face. And we go, yeah, we are. There. So this is Jess. She's been to the groomers a couple of days ago. She's going to be 6 next week. There she goes, she's saying hello. So say hello, Jess. Give everybody a wave. Hello. And there we go. Right. So that's that. Also noticed today being Friday the, what is it, the 25th of October 2019, Jen Wright has made a comment on my Hellcat wing painting video. Jen Wright is the lovely young lady, met her a few times now. She actually built the Airfix Hellcat before anyone else even had it. She's the one that made the special supplement that came in the magazine, or didn't come in the magazine, whatever happened. And she'd actually suggested and made a very, very good point that I didn't think of. She said, be very, very careful polishing the plastic and then using an acrylic primer because you may get adhesion issues. I thought, oh God, yeah, she's right. So I've done a quick test, and I'm going to do the test again live on camera, see what happens. So here's the wing. Now you can see it's very, very shiny. Now this is the wing where I polished the plastic back first with 2000 grit, I think, and just sort of basically got rid of most of the rough finish, and then I primed it with the MIG one-shot primer, which is basically the same as UMP primer or Badger Steinel Res, or there's an AK version as well. So that's what I did, but the difference is it was left for a good 6 weeks at least to go off, so that's one thing to consider. And then it was sprayed with a couple of thin coats of Mr. Hobby C365, is it? The gloss sea blue anyway, the Mr. Hobby colour. And that was thinned with Mr. Colour levelling thinners. Now, for me, the best adhesion test is to take some sellotape. So here we go, this is fresh new sellotape, I'm not detacking it. There we go, got the sellotape there, and I'm going to put it on the wing. There you go, like so. Okay, and I'm going to rub it down good and proper. Alright, and now live in front of your very eyes, I'll pull the tape off, and we can see that nothing has come off, which I must admit surprised me. I thought I would have lost some paint there. So we'll just put it on the next bit up, peel it off. Nothing. There is not a spot of paint on the tape. So I must admit, when I read Jen's email, a message, I thought, oh my God, she's got a really good point. And I would have thought some of that would have come off, but it didn't. So I would think if I'd have used Tamiya paint over the acrylic thinners, over the acrylic primer, it may well have come off. So pays your money, takes your choice. And the other thing is this there is so much texture on this surface that even if you do polish it, you're not going to get right down into all the nicks and crannies. So there's probably something there giving the paint something to bite on. But no, that has worked really, really well. The other thing I would suggest is perhaps, and I'll maybe do a trial when I actually paint mine, is thin the primer with a little Mr. Colour levelling thinners, just sort of 10%, just to give it a bit of a bite. But that has worked really, really well. So yeah, you'll see that message come up there. I respect Jen very much. I respect what she says, because basically she's built a beautiful model. She built the model that inspired me to get this thing in the first place. So something I didn't think of, and for future reference, I mean, you remember when I actually, well, you'll see in the video, I ran into a snag with this C141 with the with the sellotape for a different reason. But anyway, what am I doing today? I want to do a review on this. Now this is another Roden kit. Now I have become, trying to get rid of the gloss, I have become a bit of a Roden fanboy. Reason being, this kit here I have thoroughly enjoyed more than any other kit I think I've worked on in the last 5 years. Really enjoyed it. The plastic is just a joy to work with, and the fact that it doesn't just fall together I think makes it a lot of fun. And also it's great to build on video, because you know I love to sort of give tips and tricks and stuff to newcomers, and this sort of thing is perfect for doing it. And it just shows you can take what is, you know, really a bit of a dog, shall we say. No, not a bit of a dog, it's just like a short run kit, and you can make it into something really nice. And as you know, we spent hours and hours and hours on this wing joint, and we got it, you know, you can see it's really nice there with its gloss coat. And one of the problems I had with it really was I used fillers and stuff. When I do the next kit, I'm going to show you about using super glue and talcum powder. You can use super glue as a filler, it's great. The problem is it dries very hard. If you mix it with talcum powder, it kind of makes it a lot softer. Some people use acrylic powder and stuff. I can't find that, I can't buy it. So basically, if you mix it with talcum powder, sort of, you know, make up a white goo, you need to be quick because it dries even faster than it does as super glue. And then you can use that, and when it rubs down, it's almost like a hard plastic, and you don't get any shrinkage. So anyway, I'm going to do a review of this. Why have I bought this? Reason is, as you know, I've got the great big AN-124, which is there. Okay, there it is, the huge 1/72 scale, which I'm due to do a review on. The reason you haven't seen a review of that yet is I've been working a lot on making copies of certain parts of it, because I'm making upgrades for the engines. The engines, the kit itself is beautiful, but I think the engines look quite simple because they're massive. I mean, they're huge. So I've got them here. I'm not going to do any revealing until I've actually finished, but I'm sort of making, I'm turning metal parts and making molds of them and making upgrades for those engines. I'm also making upgrades for the Roden C5 Galaxy, because the engines in the kit are not good. And then I've bought the metallic details aftermarket set, and I've also noticed that they're all out of shape and everything as well. So what I've done is a sort of combination of the kit and the metallic details part and my bit of work on top, and come up with basically an engine that looks right and is far better detailed than the kit part, but is also the right shape. So that's what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. So let's get on the bench and have a look at this kit. I will probably build this online, we'll see. I've bought the aftermarket cockpit set for it purely because it's a complete 100% photo etch set that covers the whole airframe, cockpit, interior, exterior, pitot tubes, aerials, all that stuff, and it's about £14. So I've also bought an aftermarket decal set for it, which was £4.99 I think on eBay, and yeah, so let's have a look at get on the bench and have a look at this one. And sorry for going on for so long, but we had a few things to catch up on. Okay, so why this kit? Saw a review of it online and loved the look of it. I love the fact that it's got all these lumps and bumps on it. It's about the size of a Hercules. It's actually a cargo plane, but it's been converted by the Soviets and now used by the Russians into a electronic countermeasures jamming aircraft. It's absolutely covered in lumps and bumps. Apparently it's still used today, and well, it says on here it's still used today. I don't know what date the kit is. What's the date on here? Can't see a date. No, I can't see a date on there at all. But basically, I know they're still flying. Maybe not as the ECM version, but I know they are still flying. In fact, it's quite sad. There's a lovely in-cockpit video, takeoff, landing, in-flight, everything of one of these, an AN-12. And then I noticed in the comments down below, somebody put this aircraft has just been lost. So I thought, oh, maybe it had been scrapped, but it actually crashed and killed most of the crew. So quite sad to see. But I do know these aircraft are still flying in their droves, and apparently they are something else to see in real life because the noise is quite something else. So the reason I bought this, I saw a review of it, and my first port of call, I always go to Amazon. Now, those of you that are new to the hobby, you look on Amazon, and if you're a Prime member, you get all tempted because you think, great, brilliant, you know, I can get it tomorrow, it'll be delivered free of charge, wonderful. Be very, very careful. Sometimes the prices aren't quite as good as you'll find elsewhere. You'll often find on their kits that are like $15.99, and they're available from, I don't know, e-models for $9.99, and then it's £2 postage or something. So be very, very careful. Other times, like with this one, this kit was £31. They are available from second-hand sellers on eBay for around that price, plus the postage. And then you've got other ones that are like 59 quid. I think the retail is about 50 odd pounds. So I was quite chuffed to get this for £31 delivered next day to my door. So that was why I bought it. And also, like I said, I've become a bit of a Roden fanboy, and this kit looks like it's going to be a handful to build. I've seen many finished models built online, pictures of them. I don't think I've ever seen one in the flesh. So it is obviously buildable, and it has got some lovely, lovely surface detail. And as I say, it's absolutely covered in lumps and bumps, which gives you some great opportunities to, you know, use some differentiating colours. So, you know, maybe the whole thing is like 36375 grey. We'll perhaps do this slightly lighter, and perhaps do this one slightly darker. Some of these bits here, you can, you know, weather them in and put some paint, like they've had a touch up around them or whatever, you know. And it looks like here the windows are painted over. I'm not sure. Very, very difficult aircraft to find any reference on, because even today some of the equipment inside it is still secret. So let's have a look inside the box. Have a look around the box first. Typical Roden. We've got all the different languages on here. So we've got Ukraine, Russian, English, German, Italian, is that Spanish, and French. There we go. I'm probably wrong, but we'll see. And then we come around the other side, and these are the 3 versions of this kit that are available. There's the civilian one there, and then there's the transport one there. So yeah, very, very nice. Showing you that it's made by made in Ukraine, skill level 5, which probably all of the Roden kits are. And then this is just a little sticker here. This is the supplier from Germany, so obviously Amazon are using German suppliers. One thing I would say to beware of: get your kit, check it through straight away. If you've got any issues, send it back to Amazon. I had, as you know, I had an issue with the cockpit canopy on my C5. I emailed Roden twice and they didn't even bother to reply. Luckily I bought the kit from Antics, so I had the Bachmann sticker on it, and Bachmann replied like that, replaced the part, service as good as Revell. So if you are getting this from Amazon and it's got that German sticker on, you won't get the service from Bachmann that you would if you bought it in England. So as I say, get your kit, check it through, make sure it's all okay. Any problems, send it back to Amazon. In fact, with Amazon, you've got a couple of weeks anyway, haven't you, to send it back. And you don't really have to even give a reason why you're sending it back. So there we go. Let's have a look inside the box. So first thing we've got here, I haven't looked at this. I have had a look in the box, but I haven't actually taken anything out of any bags. So we've got the instructions and the decal sheet. More on that later. So we've got 2 bags. Well, we've got 3 bags. We've got a bag of clear. We've got a bag of the fuselage and wings. And we've got another bag here with various bits and pieces. There's the floor there, and there's the ceilings and bulkheads. So there we go, 3 bags with quite a few sprues. It's quite a nice sturdy box. So first things first, let's have a look at these instructions. So the bags are not resealable, so I've got to get my knife and just cut the bag open like so. And we'll get them out of the bag there. So first we've got the decals here, and we can see the decals they look quite nice, sort of not glossy or matte, not too thick. More on that later. And then here's the instruction manual. Let's just check you're in screen. We can bring you down a bit. There we go. So instruction manual basically is an A4 black and white printed, probably going to be a fold out. Yes, it's a fold out sheet. Oh no, it's not, it's a small booklet. And then here we've got some history all about the aircraft, so I can, what I'll do is I'll bring this up, you can see all the languages, and then you can have a read of that and pause if you like. There's a lot of information about it there. Okay, so there you go, you can have a read of that at your own leisure. Okay, so straight into the book. So the first thing we got here is we've got some information about helpful advice, and then we've got some safety advice. These are the legend of the symbols that are used, and then we've got all our colour call outs here in Humbrol, Model Master, Guns and Life Colour, so that's pretty good. Normally they only do Humbrol, I think. And then we've got, these are the sprue call outs, so we've got here parts not to be used, got a few clear parts there not used, there's some bits and pieces. Obviously we don't have the tail gun on the end, we have the big blister on the back end. Not using the ramps, so they'll come in handy for something else. And then going over the page, straight into the build, and we're starting Roden style as usual with the undercarriage. So we're putting the wheel halves together, hopefully they'll be better than the wheels were on the C141, and then assembling those onto the undercarriage legs, building up our control sticks, yokes, building up the ladder, which has got separate, blimey, it's got separate sides and then separate steps, and then starting on the engines, 4 of those. Going to put the spindle in, put the engine halves together and put the cowl over the front, putting the cockpit together, which looks pretty nicely detailed. I've actually noticed that in one of the videos, as I say, you got this guy here, he sits on this seat and then whoop, swivels round, and it all looks a bit wobbly, and sat in the middle, and when he's taking off he's doing a lot of work and leaning forward and doing this, that and the other. Then we've got the actual engine sort of cowling, engine nacelles going together there, building up the tail planes. Now it's showing us here we've got these little pitot tube things going on the end of the tail planes, and it's showing us they got to be 1mm away from the mould line there. So basically I wouldn't be adding those now, I'd leave those right until the end if I were you. Then we're going to build up these cooling ducts, which I assume they're cooling ducts, anybody that knows can tell me otherwise. Propellers going together there, it looks like they don't have any key to set their pitch, so I have to be a little bit careful there, maybe make up a little jig, we'll see. Then we're moving on here to the fuselage, and we're going to add the bulkheads here into there. We're going to add the roof, and we're going to add the floor. Now obviously, because this is no longer a cargo version, this would have been full of electronic equipment, you're going to have to build it with all the doors and everything shut. So no point in painting any of the interior other than the cockpit, because you're not going to see any of it anyway. So we've got, not quite sure what that is, that there, but that's going on the outside by the look of it. Yeah, this is one of the problems with some of these Roden kits. They got that, it's just showing you that it goes there. It doesn't say actually where it's going. I'm not sure if there's some sort of reference on here. Nope, there's nothing there at all. So that piece there is just going to go on the outside. So again, you'll have to follow your references to see where it goes. So we've got here, you can see there's that part there. Look. And we've got here some measurements to be taken to drill holes or positions of where all these bits and pieces go, which is cool. So there's no holes to be drilled as such, it's just markings of where it all goes, and we're using actual window positions and stuff to come from. So worth remembering here, yeah, one thing to remember, sort of basic, first school engineering practice. If you are dimensioning something, say you're coming from this line here, go across 20mm or whatever. The next part, if it's 40mm, don't go 20mm then 20mm, go 20mm then 40mm. And if the next one's 60, go 60. Don't go 20, 40, 60, because if you get the first one wrong, you'll put the other two out as well. And if you have got what's called a tolerance stack up, say you've got 20 plus minus 0.1, if this is 20.1, then the next one could end up being 40.2 if you've got 20.1 again. So if you have 20.1, 40.1, 60.1, then you're keeping all your tolerances. Just basic, simple engineering practice. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, comment below and I'll tell you again in another video. So here we are putting the fuselage halves together after we fit some more of these. I'm assuming these are air intakes and these are exhausts. I don't know. I'm assuming these electronics, the old electronics, would have got very hot. They'd have great big fans inside them, so they're probably pulling air in and pumping it out through these exhausts. If you know different, please tell me, because I can't find any information on it at all. So we've got some more of these pods going on. These are going to be some of the jamming pods, I'm guessing. And then this huge tail blister. Putting our wings together with our engines going on. And then we're building up the rear tailgate, the cargo hatch. And then adding some more blisters on there, adding a big blister on the back. So obviously there's no positive location for these, they're just showing you where they have to fit. Adding on the tail planes and then banging it all together. And then we're going to put some more lumps and bumps on the bottom. And again we're onto this thing with all the dimensions again and where all these things should be fitted. It looks like we have got some legs on there, so you may well be drilling some holes. Not sure quite what that's, so we'll see that when we actually build it. Adding props, adding all the antenna and bits and pieces. Nice to see they've done these separately rather than moulding them on. And then we've got the ladder going on there. I'm not sure, did we get the option to have the door open? No, we don't. So you wouldn't want the door open on this anyway, because you'd see all the electronics gear that's not in there. And then it's telling us to put 100 grams in this little nose blister area here. Probably better if you can to get it under the cockpit here, if you can somehow, maybe down the sides of the undercarriage bay, rather than having all that weight hanging on that part on the nose. And I'm thinking that is probably it. Yeah, and then we're straight into the painting guide here. We've got two versions. We've got Red 14, which is the Russian Air Force 2001, and then we've got Red 90, which is the Balkai Military District, late 1970s. I will be doing that one, Red 14, because I want to keep it later sort of Russian rather than Soviet. So there we are. So we've got all our colour call-outs there, lots and lots of stencils and decals to go on. Now, when you see part 11 of the C141 build, you'll see exactly what Roden decals are like. That's all I'm saying. Let's have a look at some of this plastic then. So let's start with this fuselage halves. We should be able to rip these bags open. Yeah, there we go. Rather than cut them, so carefully get all these sprues out. Put the bag out of the way. So straight into the fuselage halves. So we can see there we've got a nice, we're going up this position so you can see everything. Now, straight away we can see we've got some pretty wild flash. We've got some flash around the windows here, and there's some very heavy flash in there. I'm tempted actually to come along. I'm going to cut this off of here because it's trying to snap off, and the problem with plastic, when it snaps off the sprues, it generally takes a chunk of plastic with it. So I'm just going to cut these off rather than have them rip half the fuselage out with them. So here we got the fuselage halves, and straight away we can see we've got a lot of sink marks. We've got these stiffening ribs inside here, and we've got these ribs here, and as a result on the other side you can see, we'll get it in the light, you see we've got these sink marks here, here and here, and then we've got sink mark all the way along here, as you can see there, and then there's a sink mark there. So that's great, we can get onto that with our fillers and stuff. Now in that area there I probably will use filler or Mr. Surfacer, because you sand that back, and basically if it does come back a little bit, it doesn't really matter. It sort of gives it a kind of almost like a stress skin effect. But as you can see, we've got some flash around the wheel bay there. There's some flash around the cockpit here, but you know, it's nothing too much to worry about. And the plastic, I love it. I really do love it. And again, we've got the same as the other one. We've got these holes, but the pins tend to be kind of absolutely tiny. So we've got a hole there, that's going to go in. Yeah, it's quite difficult to hold it together. There we are, and you can see the fit's not so bad. Obviously concentrate on getting all this lined up and then let everything else fall into place. It's easier to do a bit of plastic carb around here than it is to try and rescribe all that and line it up and everything. And then obviously going to have a big seam here Probably best way to build this, lay it on a flat surface, glue the rear on, and then use 2 fuselage halves rather than try and assemble 2 tubes and then fill it. You often find you get great big steps and stuff. Much easier to sand that joint and get that blended in rather than try and get all this blended in. But we'll cover that when we come to the build. So there we go. Yeah, fuselage halves, lovely. As we say, some mental flash there, really thick, and then flashing those windows and that. But hey, you know, flash is removed with a knife in a couple of seconds. So we've got 2 of these sprues here, and these are all our ECM pods and everything. So we've got the actual pods themselves. I'm sorry I don't know the actual names of everything, but we've got the mountings for them. We've got our tiny little pitot tubes there, or are they balance weights that go on the aileron, on the elevators. And then we've got these, what I'm thinking are exhausts. Air intakes here, which go onto the front of these little shrouds there. So yeah, lovely, and they're all nicely moulded, as you can see close up. With some lovely moulding on there. Okay. And then here's another additional sprue, particular to the PPS. We've got another air intake there and a shroud. We've got these bits and pieces here that go around the tail, the huge blister that goes on the tail there, and then we've got these bits and pieces that go underneath, so they just glue onto the bottom side. So yeah, we've got some nice surface detail on there, and a bit of riveting, which is I think probably about the only bit of surface riveting we've got. So that's all nice. And then we've got our wings. It's got upper and lower side, pretty heavy scribing detail on here, but once it's had a few coats of primer and a wash and everything, then it'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, it looks really nice. Upper wing surface there, lower wing surface there, and again it's all trying to rip apart, but I'm not going to bother cutting these off the sprues, and they're going to go together. Looks like we got a, not sure if that's actually correct, but I'm assuming it is, because we've got a downward draft there and we've got a downward draft there on the upper, so it looks like the wings have actually got this sort of puppy ear sort of ends to them, sort of come along and then hang down, so that'll look pretty nice. So that's the first bag, and then getting into the second bag. Oh, this one's already ripped open by the look of it. Yes, the bag is actually ripped in transit, so pull all that out of there and put all this out of the way. So starting off here, we've got the undercarriage bays, which have got pretty much nothing in them at all by the look of it. And we've got the underside of the floor here, you can see the milling marks, and we've got the rear ramp. A little bit of detail on the floor, but obviously for this version we're not going to be seeing any of that anyway. Cockpit floor there, which looks pretty accurate. As I say, you can see the video online of the in-cockpit flight, and you can see this looks pretty right, pretty correct. This guy sits back here and swings around and sits in the middle. Then we've got the bulkhead there for the rear gunner, which is not going to be used. And we've got another bulkhead here. That's going to be, that looks like it's the rear ramp. And we've got some pressed aluminium sections there that go on the inside. There's a lovely ladder, which is really nice. Some greeblies and bits and pieces here, parts of the undercarriage. And there we go, so we'll give you a close-up on all that. Start of that ladder looks lovely. Obviously probably not going to use that on this, so it'd be handy to go in the spares box. The detail for the inside of the cargo bay there, but as I keep saying, you're not going to see any of it. And then we've got the cargo bay floor there. Okay, and then onto this next sprue. This is the major rear section of the fuselage, and then we've got our tail planes there. Obviously we haven't got separate control surfaces, but we can see that the way Roden has moulded this, you know, it looks absolutely stunning when you compare this to some modern kits, you know, like Model Collect for instance. Very faint lines on the actual control surfaces. This is really nice. I wish everyone would do it like this. Well, I wish everyone would give us separate control surfaces, but you know, if you're not going to give us separate control surfaces, mould it like that. Perfect, lovely. And again, we've got this pretty heavy scribing on the tail end. We've got some marks here from the knockout pins, or ejector pins as we call them in the UK. And yeah, very nice. Again, like I say, this scribing on the line, the panel lines, they look a little heavy, but I'm not going to worry about that, because it's Russian. It's going to be basically grey all over. It's going to be weathered. It's going to have dirt streaks running off it. You know, it's really going to lend itself well to being weathered, rather than having these tiny little tiny faint panel lines that disappear under the slightest coat of primer. So yeah, really, really good. Not too worried about that at all. It's not as bad as some other kits, but it is a little heavy for 72nd scale. So move along here now. We've got 4 of these sprues. So these are obviously our wheels and tires here. And then we've got our engine pods, propeller blades. Let's have a look. Was there any location on them? No. So basically they're going to sit in there and you have got to set the pitch. So that's going to be fun. Fun. I'll have to make up a jig for that, I think. So there we go. In fact, I've got a jig in that Edar Typhoon. I wonder if I can modify that one to sort. And then we've got the turbine end of the exhaust there, which is nicely detailed, nice and thin. A little bit of a clean up, get rid of some of the flash, but perfectly adequate. And then we've got our lovely wheels and tyres. I've seen we can get aftermarket wheels and tyres, but looking at those, I don't really know why you would want them. There's the spindles there for the props, some bits and pieces there that aren't used, and then whatever these are, seats or whatever, I don't know. But basically I'll show you one of these. There's 4 the same. You can see that lovely turbine detail in there for the engine. Prop blades, which are very nice, no sinkage or anything in those. And they've got a nice shape to them, but as I say, no location, so going to be fun. Engine halves there, which are nice. Wheels, lovely detail on the wheels, perfectly adequate, no resin wheels there required. Maybe give them a bit of a flat spot on the bottom. Some antenna there, pitot tubes. I think I remember seeing these parts here aren't used, so inner side of the wheels. Lovely. There we go. And then finally, well, not finally, we've got the clear sprue yet. This sprue here, now this is our loading ramps, which are very, very nice, and I noticed they're not used, so they'll be really handy for the spares box. And then we've got this blister that goes under the nose. These are the top of the cowlings for the where they go on, engines blend into the wings. All the undercarriage detail here, which is very, very fine and very nice, and hopefully strong enough to support the weight of this thing. And then we've got bulkheads here. And then we've got the rear gun blister there, which is not going to be used, and some other little bits and pieces and greeblies there. So all very nice. This is the roof of the cockpit. I'm not sure we're going to would need that unless it actually adds some strength to the wing section. I don't know. But yeah, and then here we've got these are the engine nacelles coming back underneath the wings. And again, lots of flash, but you know, flash is not a big problem. It's just something that we live with. You know, I'd rather put up with flash than having massive ejector pin marks everywhere. Flash is a lot easier to deal with. So, like these ejector pin marks here that are huge, so we'd have to get rid of those, but we're not going to use those parts anyway. So there we are. That's all the plastic there. I'll give you a close-up look at this undercarriage, which is really, really nice. We've got our control yokes there. There's the swivel mount for the seat, much like they have in the Lancaster, and then there's the front undercarriage there. We've got bulkheads. There's a cockpit rear bulkhead detail. Give that some coat of paint and some scratches. I'm actually looking for some references, guys, if you can help me on accurate cockpit colours for this thing. So if anyone can help, I'm hoping it's going to be that lovely turquoisey green. I've got the ACAM version of that turquoisey green, which is 73005. Emerald green faded. So yeah, so hopefully I get a chance to use that finally. So there we go, that's all the grey plastic, and finally we'll have a look at the clear sprue, which comes separately bagged but not sealed, which is a bit dodgy. So we've got our windows here, which look lovely. There's the nose blister there, rear gunner glazing, and then the main cockpit glazing there, and then we've got some lights and bits and pieces. Now, I'm seeing here we've got the Airfix Lancaster. We've got the lines in the plastic there. That's not on the surface. That's actually in the plastic. It's a cold front. It's where the plastic rushes through the mould. It rushes along here and then comes down, and then where it joins, you get a cold front. It's like sometimes you'll see it on the actual plastic parts themselves, and that's what it is. It's showing up as a cold front in the plastic. So there we go. Let's have a close-up look. We can see there we've got the main canopy there, which is very nice. Let's do our little distortion test. So there we go. We can see it's not too bad at all. I did actually notice, if you watch the in-cockpit flight videos of this, where the camera's looking out, they actually have distortion in the glazing anyway. So even if this glazing did give you distortion, then it would be accurate. You know, slight distortion on the sides there, but nothing too bad. And then on the nose glazing there, that's all very nice, very clear. It's got a little bit of imperfections in it. I'm not sure if that's scratching or what, but maybe a dip in some future we'll sort that out. And then we've got the side windows here, which are obviously, they're like magnifying glasses. They're going to give you a lot of distortion, but I think they get painted over anyway. There we go, guys. So that is Roden's An-12BK-PPS. Beautiful little kit, and I'm going to build this online. When, I don't know, but it's something I really do look forward to, because it gives me the opportunity to show you all about getting rid of fillers and seams and sink marks and poor fitting and changing the build sequence and stuff like that. So the kit number is 046. It's on Amazon. It's about £31, and for all of that, 31 quid, it's quite a bargain. And when it's built up, you know, as you can see here, it's going to be quite a substantial airplane. Where's those wings? I mean, there's the tail end. So you can see there, it's, you know, it's quite big. What are we talking there? That's a good, yeah, with the nose as well, that's a good 450mm long, guys. So it's a big old bird. And of course it's a great canvas. Because it's Russian, you can chip it, you can put streaks all over it, you can dirty it up, put footprints all over the wings. You know, it wouldn't have been loved and cherished like, say, a US Navy fighter would be. It would be pretty dirty, pretty tatty. There'd be touched up paint everywhere. You know, you can really go to town on this, and it'll look really, really nice. So there we go, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a like, and if you didn't like it, give me a like anyway. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. If you're wondering where the Hellcat's gone, it's in the box, it's coming back out, and the Junkers 88, I am absolutely dedicated to getting that thing finished. Once the C141's finished, I am dedicated to getting that thing finished before Christmas. And as we did last year, we'll have a Christmas build where I'll spend the week, the Christmas week, whatever, just daily doing a build and get it all done. It won't be this, it'll be something like a quick build. I actually feel like doing something very quick, like a little 1/72 scale helicopter or something. So keep your eyes peeled. I might go and get something from Antics today and put that together over the weekend. So there we go. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, thanks for all your comments I know you're going to make. And also, as I say, guys, I would like to know with this thing, if you know of any reference shots, please give me a link to them. And if you know of any shots of interiors and stuff, correct colours and that, because I can't seem to find anything that, you know, if I look at one and it's got an orangey colour, and then there's another one which is grey, and then there's another one which is like a pale yellow colour, so I'm not sure what colour the cockpit should be, so please let me know. Thanks for watching, I'll see you all later.